This next story is about Martin from Ghana. He had a wake-up call years ago. Some 26 years ago, as a young student in a prep school, he began having these pains in his stomach. He ended up at the hospital. The doctors looked at him, and then the pain went away. Now, this happened several times. After a number of visits, the doctors finally said, "This time you stay. We're going to take a look inside and see what's going on in there." And they took out his appendix. And Martin said, he said the operation was a success. Well, except for the complications that followed. There were complications. Doctors couldn't understand what was happening. The stitches were letting go and all other kinds of problems that I won't get into here, because we all have our own things and no need to put attention on them, but things went wrong. And so they gave him another operation, and same thing happened after a lengthy stay of recuperation. The operation was a success, if you can call that a success, but the infection set in. So during the third operation, he was on the table, and the doctors were busy working on him, and suddenly the room began to change in appearance. It became lighter. There was a light in there, a bright, bright light, and it drew him away from the body. And at the same time, he heard a sound which was very loud to his ears. Then he found himself far away from his body. In the distance, he heard someone call his name. This brought his attention back to the operating room. He looked down there, and he saw his body. Doctors and nurses were very busy sewing him back up, doing what they did best. And Martin watched this for a while. He watched the spectacle, and he thought it was pretty funny. But suddenly he became afraid. He became somewhat afraid. You know, they shouldn't be doing that to that body, even though it's mine. And then he followed his body, his physical human self, as it was wheeled to the recuperation room. And then he was out, unconscious for 13 hours. I should mention, during the time that he was out of the body, when someone called his name, he found himself like a light hanging, like a light fixture hanging in the room somewhere, and that he could see in all directions. He was all-seeing and all-knowing. It was a wonderful state of bliss. But as his attention went more and more to what was happening to the physical body, then of course he became concerned, and then he watched as they wheeled his human self to the recuperation area. And then finally, after 13 hours, he regained consciousness. Well, they still required a fourth and a fifth operation to make everything absolutely right. But during the next two operations, Martin found he'd lost his fear of pain and of passing on. They were gone. The world was suddenly a different place for him. He didn't worry about the mundane things that used to take up so much of his day. He was now just happy to be alive. Now, I've heard this before from other people who've been very sick. After they're over the greatest part of the crisis, they say, it's a gift to be alive. You know, not to be rich, not to have friends, not to have influence or power, none of those things. Just It's good to be alive. It's good to love. These are the important things. Well, at this point, Martin had a lot of questions about his experience, and he was a member of the Catholic Church at the time. But the priest had no answers for him. And so Martin was very unsettled for the longest time. Eventually he left the church simply because it didn't give him the answers he needed to near-death experience or out of the body. Now, this is not to say that the Catholic Church had lost relevance for the rest of the world, because it had not. It is a relevant religion. It is God's gift to humanity, as well as the other religions. This is how it is. Eventually, sometime later, a long time later, at the right time and in the right place, the Mahanta appeared. The old saying, when the student is ready, the master appears, had also run its course in Martin's life. He had now entered the circle of the Mahanta's friends. He found Ek. Mainly he had found the light and sound of God. Those were the two manifestations he found in the operating room as a young man so many years ago. Well, we're doing well here. Again, inside a circle of friends, inside the circle of the Mahanta's friends, is the true meaning of this title. Well, I'd like to mention a spiritual exercise very quickly. It's from Ray Kroc. He was the founder of McDonald's hamburger chain, the franchise that's now all over the world. He began a new life with the hamburger line when he was 52. He had all sorts of health problems. And most people would have figured, well, my life is pretty much on the ropes now. But not Ray Kroc. He said it's just beginning. So he had to keep tension down, so he had this little thing to help put him to sleep at night. He would imagine this blackboard, and he had an eraser in his hand. Whenever a message or some writing appeared, like a thought about a worry or concern of the day, began to show up on it, he'd take this eraser and he'd start erasing it till it was gone. Another image would come on the blackboard, erased it away, and so on. Now that's fine, you can use it as a technique to get to sleep, but you can do something else too. Put a crayon in your hand, a colored crayon, and dream, and, well, let's say dream, yeah. Draw the dream that you want. Or draw the state of something that you're striving for. For instance, if you want God consciousness, draw some very basic scene of an ocean. Because the home of God is an ocean, which is the ocean of love and mercy. This is one way to put your attention on God consciousness. Sometime later I'll speak or write more about some of the realizations that people had about the need to keep that goal in mind. God consciousness. How to become a better channel of divine love how to love yourself more and to love others more, because you love God more. And God loves you completely because you are soul. And so I'd like to leave you this evening with my love and blessings of the Ek Masters. May the blessings be. Thank you very much.